All right, here we go. Summit host Dr. Mark T. Wade here. Today, we're going to be doing a walkthrough through the Virtual Summit software, specifically focusing on a few particular items with the flow of a virtual summit and some common mistakes that can happen when creating your virtual summit if you don't fully understand kind of how that flow works. Now, one thing I do want to mention is remember to check out our newly rebranded and just launched podcast called Virtual Summit Strategies Podcast. We just released this this week. We completely reformatted the framework of how we are doing this podcast. You can check it out over at podcast.virtualsummits.com. You have 3 episodes a week, which include 2 strategy deep dives of me with in less than 20 minutes, covering different topics, different challenges, different resources or strategy sessions you need to know, and then 1 epic vault session that you can check out. Now, we've been doing our Virtual Summit podcast for over 3.5 years with 239 original episodes. We are now releasing our brand new format, started this week, and we'll be releasing that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for you to check out. So you can go to podcast.virtualsummits.com to check out the new frameworks, the new episodes, as well as looking back into some of our many other episodes that we've had as well. So let's jump back into this. Virtual Summit software. If you haven't heard of Virtual Summit software, you can check that out over at virtualsummits.com. It is the quickest and easiest way to host a virtual summit. You can get a full 15-day free trial. Check out our plans, our resources. We have amazing resources there as well. So when it comes to a virtual summit flow, there's things to understand. Like with a virtual summit, there's multiple different pieces of this. There is the initial landing page. So let's just kind of jump into some of these here. Let's pull this out. You got the registration or landing page. You're going to have your sales page, and then you're going to have the thank you page as well as the summit portal. So let me kind of rearrange these here for us. Okay. Now, the reason I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about some common mistakes or maybe just misunderstandings or not even understanding the exact flow that can happen with a virtual summit, which can cause maybe if you're creating your virtual summit inside of the virtual summit software to be a little bit off. So first thing to know is inside of the virtual summit software, this is your summit dashboard. You have all the different summits that you are working on as a host or a collaborator. As well as access to any summits you're speaking on, any summits you're registered as an attendee, etc. Quick reference here, you can get to our help center right here, which gives you a quick overview of the platform, access to our resource center with questions. If you have questions on billing or anything like that, can simply be typed in here and get quick access to our summit tutorial, virtual summit software tutorial, which can walk you through all of the different pieces of the virtual summit software, as well as any questions you might have. We have our resources there as well. So back here, this is going to be where your summits are set up. I'm just using this one as an example. Here is your summit navigation bar. So if you're creating a summit inside of Virtual Summit software, we got our summit details, our speakers, whether this is the speakers here, our speaker presentations, email templates. These are our notifications. We've got our schedule builder here. This is the actual way to build out and create the schedule of your virtual summit. Offers, which is the things you're going to be selling on your summit, anything like all access passes. You're going to have bonuses here, tier levels, coupons, etc. Now, down here in the Summit Builder, this is where we're going to be kind of focused on as far as the flow is concerned. We've got 3 different ways you can build out your virtual summit. We recommend using the simplified theme. It's quick, it's easy. You got over 6 different themes to choose from. It essentially auto-populates all the information from your virtual summit into the summit theme. Think of that as like your summit site. Very quick, very easy, mobile friendly, etc. The second option is our customizable page builder, where you can go and actually grab one of our original or one of our many different summit themes from a page builder standpoint. So this is 100% customizable from the sense of you can, pull in sections, you can edit the text, you can edit your pictures, et cetera, et cetera. Or as I mentioned, you can go through and select one of our different themes. We have over 20 different summit themes. That's over 50 different summit templates that you can go through here for your registration page, sales page, upsell page, thank you page, etc. Now, with that being said, here in the summit overview down here is where you get access to your links, your most important links. This is your summit, it's your registration page, your URL. That's a login link for anybody who's already logged in. We've got our sales page, thank you page, members area, etc. So it's going to start off with your summit registration page. Now, here's what's going to happen. Whenever the summit attendee, the attendee registers for your virtual summit, okay, they're going to go ahead and click on this. They're going to end up creating they're going to put in their information, create a password so that they have their summit account and can get access to your virtual summit ongoing. Then immediately after they register, they're going to go to the sales page. So this is just using one of those simple summit themes. It's easy. It auto populates the summit offers I had there with all the different bonuses listed out there, etc. And this shows me the current one. This actual summit offer is using the decoy effect strategy. So you can see these two summit offers are the exact same price, with this including an additional bonus, which increases typically the revenue you're going to get on that. Now, when they get here to your register or to your sales page, this is an immediate thing they're going to see. So they opt in for your summit, they're immediately going to see your sales page. You don't have to do anything about that. That's just automatic. They opt in on the landing page, they're immediately going to see the sales page. Now, from there, they can immediately go into their summit, into their virtual summit. If they purchase something, they're going to see the sales page or the thank you page. Now, one thing to note, the sales page is, or the thank you page is auto-generated. So any order, any purchase that they have will be listed out here with access to that if they've purchased it. Meaning, if they have a guide that they purchase, it's going to list the guide there with an ability to download that right there. And also a link to go back to the summit, which is that summit portal here. So all of that's going to be essentially, that's the flow. They're going to register for the summit. They're going to be shown a summit sales page. They can either go into their summit, or if they purchase, they're then shown a thank you page with that order form right there, with the order, what they purchased there. It's going to essentially like their receipt with access to what they purchased. Then they can go into the summit and they can get access to what they've purchased here inside the purchases as well. So they can always access those, those are listed out here. And this is what it would look like too if they were listed out on that thank you page as well. They would see whatever the thing is that they purchased and access to download that. So that's the flow of the virtual summit. Now, a common mistake, actually the most common mistake I see, is summit hosts not testing out their virtual summit in advance. Okay, that's one thing to note there. So not testing out their virtual summit in advance. Also, with that being said, the other thing that I've noticed is when a host, if you're a host and you're inside your platform, if you're inside your virtual summit and you go through and try and register and purchase, so like, for example, this says current. If you've already done this process, you're going to get an error, or it's not going to show you the ability to register because you are already inside the summit as a host. Okay. You're already one of the people inside of that virtual summit. So it is essentially already tracking you inside of that virtual summit. So if you get an error message, like a 404 error there, it's because you are the host. So there's a simple and easy way of doing that. Is you can just go to an incognito window and test that out. So that way it's like a complete new browser, etc. So that you can test that there. The other way would be to go in and delete yourself, which I don't necessarily recommend doing that. Deleting yourself here, deleting yourself, and then you're not inside of that summit. So That's the first thing, is when you test out your summit, getting an error here is because you are the host. The second error we'll see is if you are a collaborator. As a collaborator, it's the same thing. If you try and go in here, you're technically associated with that summit, but you haven't been added into the summit. So there's this little kind of loophole there where you're a collaborator, so you have access to the summit, but the summit software doesn't track you as an attendee. So if you're getting an error here and you are a collaborator, go and make sure that you've added yourself as an attendee and add yourself into the tier that you're wanting to test out. Another part to this to consider is if you are the host and you're testing this out and you're wanting to test out, for example, the sales page, okay, or the offer. Well, first off, make sure that you've put it into test mode, okay? If you're in live mode, you'd have to end up going through and adding in your summit, the summit offer, or excuse me, your financial information. But if you just put it into test mode here, you would be able to go through and test that out very quickly, testing out the offer and your upsells. That's one other thing I'll mention here in just a second, without having to put any of your financial information in. And after you do that the first time, it's going to track you as, oh, you have access to this, to this offer. You've purchased this offer. So it's going to show you here as current. Well, you can always go back into yourself and change your tier to whatever registration or to whatever offer. You take yourself back to that registration tier, and then you can go back through and test out your other offers as well. Here's the other thing to note. If you are using upsells, Summit upsells and Summit order bumps, which I highly recommend. So you got your Summit offers. Summit order bump is an offer that will be added into your tier. So let me just go here and put this into test mode. Let me update that. And you'll know you're in test mode because it'll be displayed here as this. So now you can see that's changed for me. So now I can test this out as the host. And you can see this now has no financial information that needs to be put in for me to be able to test it. Now, one thing to note, I don't know if this one has upsells on it. It does not. So I'll show that on a different summit here in a second. One thing to note is please remember to turn your summit back into live mode when you're done, because you don't want your summit attendees being able to go through and get access to the offers without actually having to pay. So that's one thing to know. But what I was going to mention is once the attendee purchases, the next immediate things they're going to see is the summit upsells. Okay. So let me go find another summit to demonstrate this one on, so I can show you the flow with that. So let's see here. Does this have okay, yeah, this one has upsells and offers, order bumps. So here you can see I've got my main offer. Let me see which one's my main offer here. So my main offer is at 25 expert hosts. So there's my main offer. I've created an order bump, and I'm doing this here in the offers and tiers. So whatever you're going to be selling inside of your summit, you're going to create that under the offers area. So I created my main offer, my summit offer, the thing I'm selling. So like my all access pass, on demand, etc. It goes under my main offer. This is going to be my order bump right here, the speaker database. So that's going to be an order bump that's going to bump up my order. I'll show that in a second. And then I have 3 summit upsells. So these are one-click summit upsells that generate more revenue that are immediately shown to anybody who purchases your summit offer. So the flow is registration, summit offer. If anybody purchases the summit offer, they're immediately shown your summit upsells. Then they get the thank you page. And then, of course, the summit portal or the virtual summit. So after I create my offers, I'm going to go through and create any extra bonuses. So that could be, the bonus could be the on-demand access, all access pass, which is where they get to keep access ongoing. It could be some guides, some resources, etc. Then I go to my tiers level. I select what is that main offer that's going to be associated with this tiers. What are the bonuses I want to include? And then here's my upsells. And the order those upsells are shown is the order that you have them listed right here. Okay. Then of course you could create a coupon if you wanted. I've got that coupon off. So let's go show that right here. I'm going to turn this into test mode. Open up that sales page so we can check this out. And so we can see this is that one offer I was just talking about, the 25 expert hosts. It's got the 2 bonuses that I've included in it right there. And if I do the buy now, I can see, since this is a test order, I don't have to put any financial information in. If it wasn't a test order, of course, they would be putting their billing information in right there. Now, this is the order bump that I was just talking about. So this right here, they can quickly add to their order just like that. It bumps up their order. So that's that order bump, which we definitely recommend having that if you're going to. Then once they place that order in there, let's check this out. Boom. So the next thing they're immediately going to see is that Summit upsell. So this is the Summit upsell. So the flow is registration, Summit offer. If they choose not to buy the Summit offer, they're going to immediately go to the Summit, to the virtual Summit, to the Summit portal. So they have access to their Summit. Now, if they do buy, they're then, and it's only shown to the ones who buy. Okay. The only people who buy your Summit offer will see your Summit upsell. So you don't have to worry about anybody else seeing that other than the people who purchase. And then this is a one-click Summit upsell. So it means they don't have to re-put in their financial information. They don't have to re-put in their billing information. So it dramatically increases your Summit revenue by, around 30%. Now they can say no, or they can say yes, and then they purchase it. And then they're shown, for example, we had 3 Summit upsells in this. Let me go here. We had 3 Summit upsells in this Summit. So you can see we had the first one. Now we're seeing the second one, interview with impact. There's the video. There's the what's in it. And then the total value. And then there's the price right there. If I had a coupon code, it would be taking it off. I can say no thank you to that. And then now it's showing the third Summit upsell right there. So just like that. And I can say, okay, I'm going to buy that. Boom, purchase it. And then the thank you page. Okay. So this is the thank you page or order complete page. As I was mentioning earlier, now it's showing those things that I've purchased, what that is, my order number here, and I can access those right there. It also gives me access to go back to the virtual Summit. So that's the flow: registration page, Summit sales page. Then if they purchase any upsells, if they purchase in the order complete page, and then the Summit portal, or if they don't purchase, they just go straight to that Summit portal right here. And again, their purchases are going to be up there as well. So that's kind of the flow here. I'm going to need to go back, make sure I set that to back to live mode. One thing to note is you should always be testing out your virtual Summit in advance. Okay. So you want to test this out in advance before your Summit promotion starts. Okay. You don't want to be testing this when your Summit is starting. Also, when you're building out your Summit, if you are using, let me go to one of these different Summits here. If you're using the customizable Summit page builder, one thing to remember, I mean, this is a great feature. It's a great option that you have here, but you do not want to overcomplicate it. Okay. So on your Summit registration page, your landing page, really the only thing you're wanting to, the only call to action you're wanting here is to register for the Summit. So the only thing you're going to be doing is having them register for the Summit. Now, this is a button here. The action we want to do is have the registration modal. Okay. So with that being said, we could just put let's see if there's another one down here. That's an opt-in form. Let's see, we got another one. So you could just do like an image here and have the button. And again, with that button, this gives you all the different options you can do with that button. Okay. You can have the registration modal, which is the registration form, a login. This is a great thing to have, for example, on your thank you page or on your sales page. So one thing I didn't mention here is on the sales page. Let me go back to that. So on your sales page, if this is what they're immediately seeing, if you're like, oh, this is a perfect example here. So if they're immediately going to the sales page after they register for the Summit, what if they don't want to buy, right? What if they don't want to buy? Where are they going to go after this? So if you are using the customizable Summit page builder, as we're showing here, you may want to have underneath the offer, underneath the buy button is no thanks, take me to the summit. Okay. So no thanks, take me to the summit, giving them the opportunity to say, no, I don't want to buy. I'm just going to go to the summit. Now that's where these other buttons that I was just mentioning will come in handy. So let me just click on the button here. That opens up the buttons property. So see this, we have registration modal. Login modal is for them to log into their summit account to get access to their summit. Scroll to sections, scrolls to a different section. External URL, be very careful with this. There's not really many areas you want to do this, especially on your registration page and your sales page, because there's only one thing you want them doing on the registration page, which is registering, right? There's only one thing you want them doing on the sales page, which is purchasing. So summit pricing tier is if we were on our sales page, the button I would probably want for my buttons there would be the pricing tier. So my pricing tier allows me to select between those tiers that I've created, small, medium, large. So which of those tiers am I creating or summit offers that they're going to be purchasing? Now, the next one here, this is the important one, link to a page. So if I'm on that sales page, or maybe I'm on the thank you page right here, I can link to different pages. So I can link to the landing page, privacy, thank you, sales page, but I can also link to the members area, the purchases area, the resource areas, etc. One thing to note with that, if the attendee is not logged into their summit, like if they're not still cookied, or the way the virtual summit software works, it tracks their IP address. If they've cleared their cookies, etc., then they would have to log in, which is fine. But this is where you can send them into the summit area. So for example, no thank you underneath the sales page, you could put no thank you, take me to the summit, and send them to the members area, which is this area right here. Take them here to the summit portal. So that's one thing to note with those links and things to keep in mind there as well. And then affiliate registration is a link to have somebody sign up as an affiliate. So be careful there when you are generating, when you're understanding the flow. You don't want to get super creative here and try and change up the flow. On your registration page, your summit landing page, really the only call to action, you don't want to be putting check out buy the summit offer here, because you're really trying to get them to register for your summit. So I've seen one of those recently where it's like, here's the summit, but then go buy the summit offer. You don't want to put that on your registration page. You only want to put that on your sales page, because the only thing you want them doing on your registration page is registering. Now on your sales page, they don't need to register. So you don't need to put like a registration tier here. Like you don't need to put that this is the free tier, you register, unless you're just trying to show them that this is what they currently have. But these are your different tiers. Oh, here's one important thing to note as well. If you're using, and we're working on this, this was recently brought to our attention. If this is again in the customizable summit page builder, if you're using the summit themes, the simplified themes, it's very easy. The virtual summit software handles all of it. But if you're using the customizable summit page builder and you're using one of these themes here, it's going to port in a theme. Like this is an easy sales page theme. Let me just, let's pull in another one. So let's go here. So if you're like, let's go this one. Okay, boom. Or maybe that's the same one. So one thing to note is that this is going to be this is going to auto populate. These are typically especially this first one here, right here. This one is, this is a dynamic pricing tier. So it's a dynamic pricing tier, which means, like, for example, if you went to the sections here, dynamic, and you pulled in this pricing tier, that means that this information is going to change. So it's going to auto populate the information from your virtual summit into this. So if you're in here and you're like trying to change this, let me see if there's another one. I'm trying to remember exactly which one it was. Can't remember off the top of my mind. But if the same thing with the thank you page. So this thank you page, and this is an important one here. I see this happen a lot. Summit hosts go, "Ooh, I need to change this. This looks ugly. I need to put the name here." This is a dynamic component, and we're working on how to make sure that this is clear. This has recently been brought to our attention. This is not clear that this is a dynamic tier. So you kind of have two options here. You either delete this completely and it's gone, right? Delete this completely, or leave it as is. But you do not need to edit anything. This is on the thank you page, and this as well, because this is dynamic. This is going to show the attendee the information that's relevant to them. So this is going to show them what they purchased, what the price was, and give them access to download it with their total offer there and whatever their order number is. So you don't, if you edit anything on this and you save it and you go, why isn't it saving? Because this is actually a dynamic template. It's going to auto populate the information in. So you have two options. You just delete it. And you wouldn't want to build this out yourself because you can't tell what that person is going to buy until they buy it. So on the thank you page, you either delete it completely and just say, hey, thanks for attending the summit. Here's your next steps, which is possible. Let's see if we have any templates like that. So let's see here. Yeah, this is a good example. So right here, boom, you're registered, next step, next step, next step. And there's really there's no dynamic piece here because this isn't telling anything about what they actually purchase. This is just saying, hey, next step. And that, if that's what you want to do, great. But if you're using one of the templates like this, one of the summit templates that looks like this is a dynamic component. And you'll see it if you go through and test it, which is why it's always important to go through and test out your virtual summit in advance to check these things out. And like I just showed you, I went through, put this in test mode, check this, I can put this, I can confirm that order, and I can see exactly what it's going to look like after I get done with it. Boom. And boom, I can see the thank you page. Okay. This is exactly showing me what I just purchased. And this is one of my just demo summits. So, but it shows what I purchased, the order, boom. Now, if I went and deleted, if I deleted that, I would see that. So it's important to test it out. So that's another example again of this. This right here is a dynamic component. You can use dynamic components here in the sections, your presentation, sponsors, a pricing tier, order summary, which is what this is, an order summary, and speakers. But it's important to notice that because I did have some information come in through customer support over the last week or so of some people saying, hey, I can't change this. Every time I save it, it reverts back like something's wrong. There's an error. It's actually not an error. It's just not clear. That's been brought to our attention. So we're going to find a way to make that more clear. This is just a dynamic component. Okay. So back to what I was saying, if you're on the sales page, the same thing is relevant here. If you're using one of these tiers and you're trying, for example, to delete this or delete this, and it keeps coming back and you're like, what's going on? It's a dynamic tier, which means you probably just need to delete that and actually pull in a pricing section, which you can get here in the sections. If you go into the sections here, I can just go and I can find, like, for example, almost the exact same tier here. I can pull that in, and anything in these sections here, these are static. Okay. Dynamic sections up here, these are static, meaning these are just simply templates or placeholders that if you change this and save it, it's going to be exactly how you want it. You can link that button to whatever. So that was something I want to bring up because that came up to our attention. Also, I just wanted to mention registering, or not registering, but testing out your summit in advance. Very, very important. Do not wait till your summit is going live or the promo started to test it out, because if there's something wrong, it takes a minimum 24 to 48 hours for customer support to go through the different requests we have coming in. And then if it is a technical issue that needs to be escalated up to development, that needs to then go to development and could take another 24 hours. So please test out your summits in advance. But within 24 to 48 hours, the issues are resolved. Okay. If there is an issue or the information, which a lot of time is not an issue, it's just, hey, that's actually a dynamic tier. You can't save that. Or, hey, you don't have, for example, a registration tier, so nobody's being registered, or the reason it's not going into your integration. So if you've integrated one of the different email accounts and it's like, hey, why isn't that going into my Kartra account? We can go in and check and say, oh, well, look, you haven't actually linked that up to your CRM. So a lot of times it's actually just kind of a little bit of a user error, or it's not clear, or something's not synced up correctly. It's typically not an actual glitch or issue. But it could take 24 to 48 hours for us to be able to help you with that. So don't wait to the last minute to test out your summit. Make sure you are going here and putting it into test mode and going through the whole thing and checking it all out. One other real quick thing, and then I'll wrap it up for today, is if you are testing out your affiliate links. This was brought up. I believe like a week ago internally. Is they were testing the summit link, the affiliate link, and it was going to like a 404. It was going to an error or something like that. If you see that, it is typically because if you see that, it's because your summit hasn't been published. If your summit is not published, let me show you an example of that. So if you're sitting here and your summit says publish, meaning you have not published it yet, then both this link, your summit registration, your URL link, is going to give you a 404 error, as well as any affiliate links that you might have. Let me show you here. Those are going to give you a 404 error because you haven't published your summit yet. So you have to publish the summit in order for the links to actually work. So please make sure, if you're testing your summit, and you can publish your summit at any time, publishing your summit, the only thing that does, because you can always unpublish your summit. You can unpublish your summit later. And it's not that when it goes published, it's not immediately being sent out anywhere, meaning it's not on our marketplace. It doesn't go out into our marketplace until you put it on the marketplace. Okay. So that's, you can publish it and it's not going to be seen anywhere. The only thing to note when you do publish it, the one thing you cannot change after you publish your summit is the summit register, or the summit start date. So that summit start date can't be changed after you publish it. But every other piece of your summit can be edited, changed, updated before, during, and after your summit at any time. It's all in real time. So I can make a change to my speaker. I can make a change to my offer. I can make a change to my pages. I can make any kind of changes I want, even after I publish it. And it's in real time. Just like you saw, I could turn it to test, etc. It's all in real time. So if you're getting any kind of 404 error on your URLs, it's probably because your summit has not been published. It has to be published for those links to be able to be tested. So that's the flow of the summit. I just wanted to walk through that. There were some things that were brought up to our attention recently in the last week or so. One of the things is, again, I just want to stress, is if you're reaching out to us, like while your summit is live, is in the middle of promotions, or, the summit's ending the next day, whatever, like, we are going to do our best to help you always. Our customer support team is available 7 days a week, but you do need to know it can take up to 24 hours for our customer support team to be able to get through those tickets, because sometimes we have lots of tickets that come in, especially with all the different summits that may be going live. And additionally, if it is something, for example, if it is an issue that they can't seem to figure out, or that they can't help, and it needs to go, if it needs to be escalated up to our development team, that can take an additional 24 hours for our development team to be able to get that issue, go through it, check it, and then be able to make sure, either provide you with the solution and or fix it if it needs to be fixed. But like I said, a lot of times there's actually not something that needs to be fixed. It's probably just a clarification, which I will again then recommend checking out the Help Center in advance too. Test your summit, check out the Help Center, because we have our tutorial guides here, which has video, it's got video walkthroughs, like detailed, specific video walkthroughs of each little piece. So if you have a question, you can just go here to the knowledge base and type in that question. So for example, landing page, let's see what comes up with that landing page. If I put that in, boom, all of these different things. So landing page, how does the just-in-time work? Brand new landing page themes, Summit page builder walkthrough, which is a big one right there. So, etc. So make sure you've definitely checked out the the help center, that knowledge base. That's what that is there for you. Also, don't forget, if you've got a summit going live here pretty soon, make sure you've listed it inside the marketplace. This gets access to all of our summit attendees. So make sure you put that into that summit, into that marketplace, which you can do by going into your summit overview and turning on the marketplace there. It'll be listed there. So that's a quick walkthrough of the flow of a virtual summit and understanding that from using the virtual summit software. Of course, you can always reach out to our team over at support@Virtual Summits. If you haven't checked out Virtual Summit software, you can check that out at virtualsummits.com. You can get a 15-day free trial. Also, we have all of our resources available there. And we just launched our Virtual Summit podcast, brand new rebrand, as the Virtual Summit Strategies podcast. 3 times a week, you've got 2 strategy sessions or deep dive sessions, 20 minutes or less, with me tackling a different topic for your virtual summit, as well as 1 epic vault from a summit interview you can go through based on topics. You can also look at our previous episodes from our past virtual summit there. So remember, your message matters, and the most powerful way to get that message out to the world is with a virtual summit. Can't wait to see what you are going to put out there. All right, enjoy and take care, everybody.